Hey everybody, just doing the video real quick to show you how to get from plain blank base here, and I had to use some Menoth to fill in some holes that I had in this base to end up with something like this. So the items you will need will obviously be one base that you intend to fill. It's a nice Menoth, yellow-gray. Excuse me. Some green stuff. Something sharp to cut the Menoth and green stuff. And you're also going to need some water. You'll also need a tool to roll out. And you'll need your preferred stamp pattern. As you can see, this is a rubber thing. In my loop video, I show the little piece that went there. That's the name of the product. And I believe it was like almost $5 for this. And what I think you're supposed to do is you're supposed to cut this to make stamps. But I'm not cutting it because this works great for large, small, and the medium bases. So you can kind of, not have to worry about putting it in the same place every time and getting the same exact look. And this way it will look more, the random of where you're pressing each time will make it like the miniatures are in different places and not in the same exact spot every time. If this is the center of your, if this part here, if this is the center of your base every time, it's quite static and will take away from the look of your base. I mean, it might look really nice, but I feel that it will take away, where if it's kind of in a random spot, it won't. So I'm going to make up the green and Menoth real quick and get those together, and then we'll go from there. Alright, so I'm back and we got our green stuff cut up and our Menoth cut up. Two pieces, obviously, just kind of stacked. Now it's your choice. You can mix these separately, or you can just combine them right now and mix them together. I kind of just combined it all together at one time and start mixing this all together. Get your fingers a little bit wet, and this will make it a lot easier. Stuff will be less likely to want to stick to your flesh. Now remember, kids, if you're going to eat potato chips or anything else, do that before you start playing around with epoxy. Not unless you plan on washing your hands every time you touch this and then go to your bag of potato chips. I would suggest a lollipop or something that stays in your mouth and you don't have to keep playing around with it. And anybody who just had a dirty thought, shame on you. I try to keep a PG channel as much as possible. Not to say that the F-bomb might not pop out, or some interesting models might not end up on this channel at some point, but I try. I'm not perfect. So this is almost mixed up all the way. It's getting there pretty good. I kind of just squish it out to like almost nothing in thickness, and then look to see if I can see anything that kind of looks like it's not mixed up. And if you see this, this is much different than the texture you're used to with green stuff or the gray yellow Menoth. It's almost kind of feels like taffy in a way, like a saltwater taffy. I wouldn't suggest putting it in your mouth and trying, as in that's probably very bad. This stuff is quite toxic, to say a lack of a better word. So this is mixed. So from here we go into filling the base. Now if you look here, you can see that this was a slotted base, and I just pushed the stuff in and filled the base. So what you do is you lay it down flat, and then you take this and you kind of put it in, and you kind of push that in first into the slotted area so it fills it. So this way when you go roll over, you won't end up with an indentation on your pattern and make it look like crapola. So I'm going to put this kind of in the middle. Get my fingers wet because they're starting to get a little tacky on there. And then kind of take the bulk of your epoxy mixture and move it towards the edges. Doesn't have to be perfect, just kind of push to where you got a gap. That's pretty good. Dry off the fingers. Alright, now I'm going to use this tool. This was my X-Acto knife that the end broke off of. This is metal, and I broke it cutting up a cardboard piece. Here's my replacement one. I was holding it like this and snap. So I'm now using it for this. Dip it down so this is wet. Place it in the center and kind of just spin. Didn't want to spin, it wasn't quite wet enough. And what you're doing is you're kind of giving this the ability to get onto the base itself. And I'm sorry I can't get this any closer for you to see what's going on, but until the software issues fixed with Windows 7 for my webcam, this is kind of what I have to deal with. So I'm just kind of pushing this back and forth and rolling the pin at the same time. See, there's the extra that just rolled right on off. So now I'm going to spin this around because it's easier to pull it towards myself and keep my thumb right there, and then move it out the way when the time comes. And if you're really worried, you can revisit the other direction. Do the other same thing. Just kind of remember, it's kind of like use it like a rolling pin. Familiar to baking. Alright, and now you kind of just remove some of the excess stuff off on the side, or you can just leave it. It's up to you. Now what I do is I take my finger, I get it wet. Oop. Almost had a spill. And so I'm just basically, I'm putting water all over the epoxy here. I want this very wet. Now I could put it on the rubber stamp here, but the problem is I don't know where exactly I'm going to be putting the stamp on. So it's easier to get this wet and then put this down than to get this down. See, and I can just put this down wherever I want. Hold the mat in place, and then just roll this over. And sometimes it sticks. And you can see here, it picked up the pattern nicely. Towards the bottom right here, it might not look like it because there's some excess water there that's kind of just filling it up, the pool area. Usually you can just kind of blow that off and see that it's not ruined. I'll take this paper towel and just lightly tap. and pick up that extra water. See? It's all there. Nice, nice, pretty, pretty. So that's how I do these bases. After you're done, take your paper towel and you can just pat your stamp. And if there's any that gets in there, kind of stuck in there, like right there by my thumb, then you just take your old toothbrush, go to the sink, and just kind of scrub it right out, and it'll come right out. So that's how I did these bases. You can do this with any other stamp that you could get at your local hobby store, or I don't know if there's even a stamp store, but this is how easy it is to do this. And you could literally do this with any pattern you wanted. If you really wanted to, you could wet a surface, roll it out until you got what you wanted, and use the stamp to make like a decorative ballast or building facade, you know, something like that that you could attach to some type of scenery that you're making and make it look really fancy and nice. Or you can just do it to your bases. What you do with it is pretty much limited to by your imagination and what you decide you want to do with it. So I hope this helps everybody. I hope this inspires you to try something like this for your bases or for your terrain. So until then, oh yeah, one other thing, you don't have to do this right away. You could just roll this out and leave it sit for about 30-45 minutes to an hour and then roll it. The kind of the benefits of that is it's not as soft and as pliable, so you can have to push a little bit harder, and the pattern will still get in there, but it won't be able to get in there quite as deep. And the epoxy is a lot less tacky, a lot less to try to cling on to whatever it is you're using. So it does have its advantages. Just to put that out there. So this is going to run about a little bit more, less than 15 minutes, so I'm going to cut it here. Talk to you all later. Please leave comments and like.